Welcome to Middle East Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Hamas set to free third group of hostages as negotiators work to extend truce. Why a Palestinian state is the best security guarantee for Israel. Attackers seize an Israel-linked tanker off the coast of Aden, Yemen. Third day of truce in Gaza looks complicated after accusations of a Palestinian farmer being killed by Israeli forces. Killing reported in Gaza refugee camp on third day of truce. Hamas set to free third group of hostages as negotiators work to extend truce. Wall Street Journal. Hamas has said that it will not extend the ceasefire with Israel beyond its expiry on Monday. Hamas has not yet officially confirmed that it will not extend the ceasefire, but the group has said that it is unlikely to do so, and an unnamed Israeli official has said that no truce extension has been agreed with Hamas. The Israeli army has said that it will continue to destroy Hamas tunnels during the ceasefire. Why a Palestinian state is the best security guarantee for Israel. Financial Times. The EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Federica Mogherini, has said that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is more pervasive than ever and it is here to stay. She argues that if the conflict is not addressed, it may lead to displacement of people, including towards Europe, and increase the risk of terrorism and inter-community tensions. Mogherini believes that the best guarantee for Israel's security is the establishment of a Palestinian state, and that the international community must work towards a viable and lasting political settlement for the benefit of both Israel and the Palestinians. Attackers seize an Israel-linked tanker off the coast of Aden, Yemen. Yahoo! A tanker linked to Israel has been attacked in the Gulf of Aden off the coast of Yemen. The Central Park vessel was seized on October 17. No group has claimed responsibility. Two other attacks on ships have been linked to the Israel-Hamas conflict in recent days. The tanker, owned by Clumves Shipping but managed by Zodiac Maritime, is carrying a cargo of phosphoric acid. Zodiac Maritime was previously targeted in a drone attack in 2021, which was attributed to Iran. The incident involving the Central Park has prompted U.S. naval forces to warn vessels to stay clear of the area. Third day of truce in Gaza looks complicated after accusations of a Palestinian farmer being killed by Israeli forces. ABC. A Palestinian farmer has been killed in an Israeli airstrike in the Gaza Strip, during a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The truce has entered its third day, however there is no immediate comment from Israel on this report and it is not clear if it will impact the latest phase of plans to swap hostages in Gaza for prisoners in Israeli jails over a 4-day period. Killing reported in Gaza refugee camp on third day of truce. Reuters. A Palestinian farmer was killed and another injured on Sunday by Israeli forces in the Gaza Strip. This comes as a truce between Israel and Hamas entered a third day. There was no immediate comment from Israel on the report and it was not clear if it would impact the latest phase of plans to swap 50 hostages held by the Palestinian militant group for 150 prisoners in Israeli jails over a 4-day period. White House grapples with internal divisions on Israel-Gaza. Washington Post. A group of around 20 White House staffers recently met with President Biden's top advisors to discuss the administration's strategy for reducing civilian casualties and its post-war vision for the region in light of the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict. The meeting revealed a division within the White House, with some participants feeling that the advisors were falling back on familiar talking points. The Biden administration has faced criticism for its unwavering support of Israel, which some say has damaged America's moral authority in the world. Israel-Gaza truce enters third day after Hamas frees second group of hostages. Financial Times. Israel and Hamas are preparing for another round of hostage and prisoner releases as the truce in Gaza continues. Late on Saturday night, Hamas freed 13 Israeli civilians and 4 Thai nationals, while Israel released 39 Palestinian women and children. Under the terms of a deal brokered by Qatar, the U.S., and Egypt, at least 50 Israeli civilians seized by Hamas during an attack in October are to be released in exchange for 150 Palestinian prisoners and an increase in humanitarian aid to the Strip. Hamas fighters to free more hostages as families reunite. RFI. Hamas has released 13 Israelis and 4 Thai hostages, and Israel has released 39 Palestinian prisoners, as part of a ceasefire agreement brokered by Qatar, Egypt, and the United States. The release of hostages and prisoners is the first significant relief for both sides since the outbreak of the 7-week war. Despite the swap, Hamas has accused Israel of breaching its side of the deal, leading to a delay in the handover. The ceasefire is expected to be extended for a day or two, with further hostage and prisoner releases. The truce has allowed for more aid to reach Palestinians, who have been struggling with shortages of water and other essentials due to the near-total siege imposed by Israel. thousands of Palestinians have started to return to their homes, which have been destroyed in the conflict. The Israeli Armed Forces chief has stated that the war to eliminate Hamas will continue. Israeli-owned ship targeted in suspected Iranian drone attack reports. The Independent. A container ship owned by an Israeli billionaire came under attack by a suspected Iranian drone in the Indian Ocean as Israel wages war on Hamas in the Gaza Strip, an American defense official said Saturday. The attack Friday on the CMA-CGM Simi comes as global shipping increasingly finds itself targeted in the weeks-long war that threatens to become a wider regional conflict even as a truce has halted fighting and Hamas exchanges hostages for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. Netanyahu and Hamas depended on each other. Both may be on the way out. Washington Post. The alliance between Hamas and Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is crumbling as both parties face losing power. For 15 years, Hamas rule in the Gaza Strip and Netanyahu's governments have found each other useful. Both are now facing unprecedented public anger and calls for resignation for their failures to prevent and respond to the October attack on Israelis by Hamas. During Netanyahu's rule, he largely pursued a strategy that maintained the status quo of a divided Palestinian population, with Hamas ruling in Gaza and the rival Palestinian Authority ruling in the West Bank. This division served Netanyahu's interests and the interests of those opposed to a negotiated two-state solution. Netanyahu largely sidelined the Palestinian question and instead focused on Iran and other threats, as well as Israel's economic development. Netanyahu's government made moves that eased pressure on Hamas, which included periodic prisoner releases, the transfer of money from Qatar to Gaza, and improving infrastructure. However, Netanyahu's strategy is being scrutinized by traumatized Israelis, and his support has reached historic lows. Hamas rule is also being questioned by more Gazans, who are criticizing the regime publicly and on social media. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six from the Sixth Dimension, here to bring you the latest news from around the world. Today, we have an update on the Israel-Hamas conflict and the ongoing ceasefire. Hamas has announced that it will not extend the truce with Israel, which is set to expire on Monday. Meanwhile, there are reports of a Palestinian farmer being killed by Israeli forces during the ceasefire. In addition, a tanker linked to Israel has been attacked off the coast of Yemen, and there are internal divisions within the White House on how to handle the conflict. On a more positive note, both Israel and Hamas have been releasing hostages and prisoners as part of a recent swap agreement. However, there are concerns that both Hamas and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu may be losing power. Now, let's dive deeper into these stories. The decision by Hamas not to extend the ceasefire is not surprising, given the group's previous statements. This could potentially lead to a resumption of hostilities between Israel and Hamas, which would be a setback for peace efforts in the region. The killing of a Palestinian farmer during the ceasefire is a tragic incident that highlights the fragile nature of the truce. It remains to be seen how this will impact the hostage and prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas. The attack on the tanker linked to Israel in Yemen raises concerns about the broader implications of the Israel-Hamas conflict. This is not the first time that ships have been targeted in relation to the conflict, and it underscores the potential for escalation and regional instability. The internal divisions within the White House on how to handle the conflict reflect the complexity of the situation and the challenges faced by the Biden administration in finding a balanced approach. On a more positive note, the release of hostages and prisoners by both Israel and Hamas is a welcome development. This has provided some relief for the affected families and is a small step towards building trust between the two sides. However, there are concerns that the ceasefire may not hold as both parties accuse each other of breaching the agreement. The truce has allowed for more aid to reach Palestinians in Gaza, who have been suffering from shortages of essential supplies. Thousands of Palestinians have also been able to return to their destroyed homes, highlighting the immense challenges faced by the civilian population. Lastly, the potential loss of power for both Hamas and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu could have significant implications for the future of the Israel-Palestine conflict. Netanyahu's strategy of maintaining the status quo and focusing on other issues has come under scrutiny, while Hamas is facing criticism from within Gaza. These developments could potentially open up new opportunities for peace and change the dynamics in the region. In conclusion, the situation in the Israel-Hamas conflict remains complex and uncertain. The decision by Hamas not to extend the ceasefire, the killing of a Palestinian farmer, and the attack on the tanker linked to Israel are all reminders of the challenges faced in achieving a lasting peace. The release of hostages and prisoners provides a glimmer of hope, but there are concerns about the sustainability of the truce. It is clear that a comprehensive and viable political settlement is needed to address the root causes of the conflict and ensure the long-term security and well-being of both Israelis and Palestinians. Now, I would like to hear from you, my viewers. What are your thoughts on the latest developments in the Israel-Hamas conflict? Do you believe there is a path to a lasting peace in the region? Let's discuss. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.